I am joined by Diane Ty, the Managing Director, Future of Aging. Diane, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to me.
It's my pleasure.
So maybe we start off by, being the Director of the Future of Aging. What exactly does that entail? What do you do when you come to work at the Milken Institute?
So we're all about advancing healthy longevity and financial security for all. The for all is really important because we really take a life course perspective to aging. We do research, we do convenings, multi-sector partnerships, and then elevation of high-impact policies and practices.
So I think we all understand that something very significant is happening in the way people age. People are living longer. It's expensive to live longer. It affects a lot of different things. You've been doing a lot of research in this area. What are some of the things you think people don't fully appreciate about the aging market?
We're seeing obviously this transformative time in our lives with the demographic shifts. We've got people, like you said, living longer than ever before. Unfortunately, those years are not always in good health. So we have this concept of the health span, wealth span gap. Health span are the years living in good health. It's about 12.4 years in the U.S. Women actually have a longer, about a 2.4 extra years of health span gap. And we're living 5 years longer. So about 25% of our years living in poorer health compared to men. So that's one issue. The issue of caregiving. So as we have more people living longer, aging is the predominant risk factor for chronic disease. So, you've got people needing care in the homes. We have a shortage of direct care workers. We don't have a long-term care policy in this country. So a lot of family members are working too. About 60% are working full-time. We've got 53 million family caregivers in this country. 40% of them are caring for an older adult. It's another area.
It does seem like there is, the economy wasn't necessarily set up to accommodate this. I remember, you retire at 65 and maybe you have a couple of years of savings and then, getting to 70 would be a huge success.
Right. I know.
And that standard has now changed.
Absolutely. So if you think about when Social Security was enacted, 1935, when the average lifespan was about 62, 65 for women. So here we are now, average lifespan 75 for men, 80 for women, give or take a few months. And we're having to sustain that lifestyle for a much longer time. The other big factor is we used to have defined benefit plans or pensions. That's pretty much gone away and replaced by defined contribution plans. And so having to then save on your own, and not everyone has access to these employer-sponsored.
I sort of came into the workforce at the end of the pension era, by and large, but the idea was there was a three-legged stool.
Right,
and
you would have
your savings, your pension, and then Social Security.
Right.
And now a lot of older adults are just living on Social Security.
Exactly, too many. And if they have saved for personal reasons, for personal savings, it's not enough. The statistic that blows my mind is if a couple reaches 65, pretty good health, they're going to spend about $472,000 in out-of-pocket health care and long-term care expenses.
I think we've identified some of the problem. What are some of the solutions here? Because I don't see the private sector coming back with pension plans anytime soon.
Absolutely. We have to raise awareness about prevention. We've got to prevent these chronic diseases from happening in the first place. The other big issue and opportunity is brain health. So when you think about what might be a limiting factor to health span, it's not just physical, it's the cognitive pieces as well. We are seeing unbelievable strides within the brain health space right now. There's the whole brain economy, the focus on brain health as a driver of productivity and economic sustainability. But we're also seeing unprecedented hope for the first time in the Alzheimer's disease and related disorders field. We've got 2 disease-modifying therapies that can slow it down. It's not a cure. We have a pipeline of drugs that are hopefully going to be coming out. We have biomarkers, blood-based biomarkers. We have more diagnostic and early detection. We have treatment plans. We have the first alternative payment model that came out from our Center for Medicare and Medicare Innovation, the GUIDE model. So there's so much that we are looking at in terms of solutions. The other thing we're trying to do is raise awareness about just housing. So right now, our housing stock only about 4% of existing homes could actually accommodate a wheelchair. The other issue is around our existing senior living and care types of properties. They're not affordable to the middle income adult. And so really looking at innovative financing models, new models to really have this accessibility and affordability issue addressed. On the retirement security piece, we have the Secure Act 2.0 and just more innovation happening in terms of policy changes. We're working to really raise awareness among employers about the impact of caregiving on their workers. There's this dynamic of presenteeism, absenteeism, employee turnover. We need employers to really understand that in terms of benefits and supports, they really need to be looking at their caregivers who are working. It's like a second full-time job for many people. The other things that I'm excited about is just a number of activities underway within the aging field. Changes in what we're seeing in media and film is changing the narrative for aging. A lot of the imagery out there is outdated. We talk about the 4 Fs: feeble, frail, forgotten, and fragile. These are not our older adults.
No, there's more representation of older adults thriving. In what we would call old age.
Exactly. The other thing we really need to do and that we're working on is adjusting, and again, as we address the stigma and ageist attitudes, getting more people to stay in the workforce, and having companies want to understand and value the experience, the wisdom, the crystallized intelligence that older adults bring. And that wonderful interaction that happens when you have multiple generations working together. So that's another solution, getting people to work longer. It's great for their social health, mental health. It's great for the economy. It's great for the workforce. It's a win-win-win, but we've had a lot of work to do in that space.
Yeah. And do you think the barriers there are more on the employer side, discriminating against, employees that probably cost more than the 22-year-old?
I think that's a perception. I think there's outdated perceptions that older adults aren't facile with technology, can't learn faster. But if they really understood that older adult is an incredible resource, a lot of institutional knowledge, responsible, and the mentorship that happens both ways is really magic in the workforce.
So the conference is just getting started.
Yep.
We're talking at the very beginning of it, maybe even a preview day. What are you looking forward to? Who are you looking forward to meeting? What are you looking forward to talking about?
I'm really looking forward to one of the panels that we're doing called Roadmap to Longevity. We have an incredible lineup of speakers. We have Patrick Dempsey coming to talk about caregiving. And one of the things we want to do is, yes, females, women are the predominant caregivers. Males are too. So we really want to shine a light on the unique challenges that men have when it comes to caregiving. I just listened to Dr. Oz at a private session. I was really impressed at his vision for what needs to happen in terms of fixing our healthcare system. So there's so much to look forward to.
That's great. Diane, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to me today. Good luck with the rest of the conference.
Thank you, Dan. It's my pleasure.
I'm Dan Costa with Worth Media Group. If you want to see more videos like this, go to our YouTube page. I'll see you there.